don't use AI to solve people because we need people.
No, we're not taught these things in school.
That's good. What's something that you wish you could tell your younger self
Yep.
that would have saved you a lot of heartache, money, pain?
And I would only take the advice of people
What's up? We are live from Muggs Cafe in Chambéry. I have two of my all-time favorite clients with us here. If you're unfamiliar with who I am, my name is Tyler S. Clark. I'm the co-founder of Dream Firms, and I have two of my Dream Firm leaders here with me. On my left, the wonderful Michelle Musacchio, a Fit Money CPA, and she's going to tell you a little bit about her life views and how she sees her firm in the future in just a minute. And of course, the dynamic Ine Jackson-Atkins of Esquire Accounting. And these people are just absolutely loaded with practical, meaningful knowledge on how to create your dream firm because they live it. They do it every single day. And I want to just kick off with a simple question, which is, what is your favorite business quote? What does it mean to you? And where did you learn it from? So take a second, because this is improv. But favorite quote, what's it mean to you, and where'd you learn it from? And then whoever would like to go first may do so.
I'm not going to have this totally pervade, whatever the word is.
We don't do words.
We don't do words. We do math.
Spreadsheets only.
So it goes something like everybody needs data, but it doesn't need to be the only thing at the table because you need relationships and humans. Aww. And
woo.
Oh, I know, right? So, where did I find it? I don't know. I've had it on my monitor for years, but it's just one of those quotes that kind of sticks with you.
Yeah, that's a great one. I think when we're in this digital age, it's easy to lose the human element. Mm-hmm. And, the joy of the last 24 hours mm-hmm. of having you guys fly across the Atlantic Ocean to be here is wild to think about. But it did start in a digital space. It didn't start mm-hmm. necessarily with data. It started with a desire to run a better firm and
mm-hmm.
work with better clients. And we're working on that data piece.
But it's been the relationship that has kept it going. Again, it's not the data. You've got to have the data.
You do.
But there's more to it than just that.
Do you know where you first heard that?
I do not. Okay. It was in a magazine, and I want to say it was Success Magazine.
It's one heck of a magazine. I hope you kept it. If it came onto your computer, right?
No, it was actually the paper one.
Oh, wow.
And I just cut the quote out.
I love it. Very cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Ina? You got a quote you prefer over there?
I do. I love it so much that it's on my business cards when we actually used to hand out real business cards. But you can still find it even on my invoices digitally. You see it there. Anything that I send out digitally, if you look really close, it's in the footer. And it simply says, she perceives her merchandise is good. And the word good is actually translated a couple times in Hebrew and Greek, and it simply means that good is honorable, it is trustworthy, mm-hmm. it is safe. And I have loved that saying for all of my business career.
Nice.
That's been a long time. I have really good moisturizer. And you're going to ask me where I got it from, right? A book I like to read every now and then. It actually comes from the New King James Version translation of the Bible.
Sweet.
It's a proverb.
Beautiful.
It's around 31 and 18, I believe it is. Mm-hmm. But it's in its completion is she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. And so it's kind of like, for me, it's a call to action as well. Mm-hmm. It kind of brings me into an accountability with my business life because actually the proverb is talking about a businesswoman, actually. So read the story and you'll figure it out. But it's actually talking about a businesswoman and how she rises early and she does all these wonderful things. But in all of that, she perceives that her merchandise is good, it's honorable, it's trustworthy, it's safe. And because of that, she's known in the gates. Everybody loves her.
And it grounds you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah, it keeps you
good.
focused.
It's good.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that one. So after I share mine, we're going to go around the horn here. So I want you guys to also pose a question. So feel free to think about a question you want to toss out here. But my favorite business quote is actually something we developed to reflect our core values in our company. And you guys hear me say it all the time. And it's a spin on an old expression, which is take your own medicine. And as much as I have an appreciation for doctors, I like to take as little medicine as is necessary, of course. But I also don't find taking medicine to be something that's celebratory, right? It's
Right.
usually something that you do out of a necessity. Drinking champagne, on the other hand, that I will certainly celebrate. So we say drink your own champagne, and we live in a beautiful region in France, and that comes along with rich heritage, comes along with people who wake up early, work really hard, and bring that product to their friends and family, the people that they care the most about. And so when we were thinking about what it really means to be a team member of Dream Firms, be on the dream team, and be a client, be a dream client of Dream Firms, we said, what do we really want these people to do? And we want them to know that if we're going to ask you to do anything, you got to know that we're doing it too, and that when you do it, we're going to have a right to celebrate together over that. So I've always loved that. As soon as it came out of, I don't even remember if it was my wife who said it first, probably, and she'd be like,
Because she's the smart
yeah,
one.
right. Not champagne, champagne. She's the smart one. She's the reason Dream Firms works at all. But yeah, ever since that, I've just been saying it more and more, and I think it's just a great principle to live by, and a principle that every company would do well to adopt. Not embracing alcoholism, of course.
We're gonna take on drink your own bourbon.
For those unfamiliar, Michelle's from Kentucky, so hence the bourbon reference. But that would be my answer, and curious to know who would like to throw a question to the other two people here.
Wow.
Yeah. You want to go first?
No.
Okay. Well, you know the one that I always go back to.
Which is?
Why? Why did you start what you started?
To me, it's simple, but it's complex. But it really is to create and have a legacy, and it'll be the first ever infused in our family, infused in our generation. I want to have something that my family, whether here or born down the line, will always have to fortify themselves and build themselves. It's something that I didn't have. It's something that we only dreamed of, coming up. I had very meager beginnings. I'm not going to tell y'all the whole story here, but very meager beginnings. I couldn't even buy a vowel if we wanted to. Yeah, it was like that. And so I didn't enjoy living in that space. Obviously, I took, the resources that we had, and even the lack of resources that we had, use what was available to me to build on that, to build relationships, to your point, and to grow and to broaden my horizon. And my firm allows me to not only be able to continue to do that and evolve, but to also be able to present others with resources and to be able to share in that. I think that if you don't have enough to share, you don't have enough. And my legacy is one of sharing.
And you're so good at it.
Yay.
You share with a lot of people.
I feel better when I share.
And just to echo what Michelle said there, which is what an amazing giver that Ine is. She leads our Process This call every Friday, and she very few firm owners actually show what's behind the curtain and how it works
Absolutely.
and how it runs and the level of detail that she provides into how she runs a highly profitable and growing accounting firm and the insight she provides. She doesn't have to do that, but she chooses to, and I think that's a perfect reflection of her mission.
And that's nice, y'all. Well, I have one for Michelle.
No, wait a minute. He hasn't told us why.
Oh,
And
okay.
then hold that one.
Okay.
So I hate to be all like company core culture here, but one of our other major core values is own it. And you know, when someone ever asks like why start dream firms, and I, you know, to me that's just like, why did you choose the path of entrepreneurship vehicle? The dream firms is the vehicle that we operate through, but I could never, when I was an employee, I did not like that I was not in control of the outcomes.
Preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we're preaching to the choir for the people who are listening too, but like we as entrepreneurs, we can't stand by and look at something and know it could be better and not be able to take the actions that make it better. And so when I think about ownership over your life is, to me, the single most important thing. As soon as you default to someone else is responsible for your problems, your choices, you know, whatever it is, wherever you are in your lot in life, I just think you're starting several steps from behind from being able to actually change that. And that is not something I've ever been okay with. And so I always think about one that I was given the inverse of Ine. I was dealt a great hand early on in life because my grandfather and father decided to be entrepreneurs. They chose to own their future destiny, whatever you want to call it, the responsibility of cutting the paychecks, right? Owning mistakes that are very hard to deal with, and to still find a way to forge forward on behalf of their family, friends, and clients and team members. So I think about the people who wish they had the gift of being a third generation entrepreneur, and for me to not be able to leverage that advantage is something I literally could never live with. So that's, you know, that's a hell of a question, Michelle.
I know. It is. It's
I
very
feel like my
deep.
question was crappy in comparison.
Love that.
And we got to swing it back to you, of course, for a final answer on your question.
So obviously, I would think about this a lot since I brought the question up, and I think it might sum up what you both have said. So I grew up watching my mom serve others, either through teaching or through military. And I don't want to do that. But I do want to serve others. And, through accounting, we have that ability to teach and to also provide a product, for lack of a better term. But, again, for me, that center of that golden circle for me is service to others.
That's a good one.
I love it.
That was a good one.
Very good. Ine, after you, what do you got in the question category here?
Well, the question is it's how, and what I mean by how is I know what we do because we're accountants. I know what we do because we're solopreneurs. But how do you do it with this effortless look on your face, with this great composure that you keep and have? I'm always strengthened by that with both of you, and I just want to know how. Somebody said that. I just heard someone saying the other day that accountants are not we're not emotional, and I beg to differ because I am emotional. but I don't know that it always serves me though. So I just want to know how you guys are very good at that. I just want to know how you guys walking out this masterful.
It's all an act, Danae. To your point, yes, very, very emotional, and red hair, trigger temper.
You know.
So I've had to, kind of teach myself, and there's still times that inside I'll go off, but we have to present to our staff, to our clients,
Yes.
that everything's okay.
They're composed.
So you, for me anyway, I take a step back and kind of focus on whatever it is in front of me. But I think, I don't know if Tyler will agree, but I think to a certain extent we're all introverts.
Yes. People don't believe it, but we are.
People don't believe it between
Never do.
between us.
Never.
Right.
and still have to take that time and just kind of go back into yourself, and sometimes just put the blinders on and
Get it done. Huh?
get it done, man. Don't think about the world, just take that time. And
That's why I trust her.
So this is a very interesting question.
It is,
because
very.
Very few people ask how. Why is amazing, but I find very few people try to get to an understanding of how people do things. And oftentimes, to me, it's just how good are you at reflecting on experiences that you did not like, and then changing your behavior to match the new environment.
That's good. That's good.
So, for context, I think everyone here has experienced a working environment where someone was largely ruled by emotion. And so, it's not having emotion, but it's also not letting emotion control you, right?
Being reactive.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always prescribed as closely as I can to a Stoic belief and philosophy, which is, there's not a lot that's in my control, very, very, very painfully little. But the one thing that is in your control is how you react and respond to things. And
That's a good answer.
it's normal to be angry or heated or excited or happy or angry or sad or whatever, but the work still needs to be done, and no one's going to do that work for you. And maybe sometimes hatred will give you some fuel. Fine. Maybe sometimes being really excited about winning a goal or hitting a number will move you forward. Fine. But I try to just keep in perspective that life is a series of peaks and valleys, both in terms of like the wins you experience in business. If you told me I'd be sitting here with two of my best clients and they'd fly out to France and, we'd be with a bunch of other clients and doing a podcast, and you told me this like 3 years ago, I'd tell you were off your rocker. But we're here, and this is very much a top of the valley, or excuse me, top of the peak, like moment for me. And there will be a come down, but I find I've gotten much, much better at not sitting in the valley and wallowing in despair, just purely because I've seen what leaders do when they're just purely ruled by emotional swings of things that are outside of their control.
Yeah.
You guys could have chosen not to come, right?
Yeah.
You could have
Not really
told
an
me,
option,
yeah.
but yeah.
Well, the Atlantic is pretty big. I mean, it's pretty big
ocean.
reason.
Yeah.
And
Wouldn't want to swim it, but
so that's my general approach to it, is just I try and reflect on the experiences I've had that were not in my control when I was younger, and how to not replicate
you're
them.
still young.
And,
Exactly.
well, younger. I'm getting older every second.
Exactly.
So I can give you the number of a good therapist.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Therapists who need therapists. That's what accountants are.
And Ine, that question was interesting because I think all of our clients look at you and many of them say we want to be like Ine.
Right.
They
Right.
say we aspire to be more like you. And you know, I was literally debating between drink your own champagne and a quote you said to me in a call not too long ago, which is you used to say, "I do it scared."
Yep.
Everything.
And then you changed it later to it's not I'm doing it scared, I'm doing it with reverence.
Right.
And I'd love for you to just explain the difference
Right.
between that.
Yeah, so because scared and fear, we associate them with such a small mind, maybe, right? We associate the words with defeat, perhaps, you know. I thought when I think about the bigness of a thing, when I think about the honor of a thing, when I think about how large and encapsulated a thing can be, it's not necessarily that it's fearful or that it's scary. I think the fear itself resonates in the bigness of it, how large and enormous it is, how the weight of the responsibility of it. And so it's more reverence than fear. So I revere the power of it so much that it kind of makes me shake a little, you know, to have to do it. And so,
And this is why we all want to be like an egg.
and so because if you do anything honestly with the thought that you're fearful of it, you honestly really are not going to get it done. So in the breath that I say, oh, you know, I do everything scared, I do everything filled with fear, I thought that wasn't a clear association of what I was actually doing. Because although I am a little fearful of, you know, the enormity of a thing, you know, and the challenge of it, perhaps, I respect and revere that overcoming that thing is going to get me the thing that I most need and most want.
That is an excellent perspective. And, you know, thinking about some of our other cohorts in the group, I think a lot of people really are scared. And maybe you and I need to start putting that out there, that it's more of a reverence.
Correct.
That it's more of what an honor we are holding in our hands.
The weight of it itself.
Right.
The weight
Right.
of it itself, especially when you're an influencer.
Right.
We're influencers by proxy. The mics are here. We have our own business. People listen to us. We get to talk. If you have children, you're an influencer. If you have a dog, you're an influencer. You got a cat, you're an influencer.
If you have a cat, you're not an influencer.
Well, you're
not.
being influenced.
Yes.
Had to get that right.
Yeah.
But my point to that is that we have to be careful too in the
Yes.
word choice. And people are listening to me, and I thought, you know, people don't believe that I'm doing anything afraid because
No.
I don't come off as that person. But I do it with a lot of reverence, honestly, and I do it with it takes a lot of thought. Obviously, I don't spend a lot of time because I do not want myself to be, you know, critically paralyzed by analyzing, right? And so, what I consider is the benefit of overcoming the challenge of the enormity, the benefit of overcoming how weightful it is, this group or this complex, you know, ball of complexities between me and it. Even traveling to France for me it's something that I have to overcome. Everyone knows that I travel a lot. I make it a point to go and visit with my clients, and I go visit with the ones that are the furthest away because I want to fight the challenge of being afraid or being fearful of flying. A lot of people don't know that about me. So to get on a plane and fly 14 hours,
Yeah.
but I'm here for the benefit of it. What's going to happen when I simply board the flight and get here?
Right.
What's going to happen when you simply overcome? Speaking, I do a lot of that, but I literally have to go somewhere and throw up and drink water even before coming to do this. Now, no one believes that, but the dude's like, yeah, you're going to do this. And I'm like, we are?
You didn't give us
Like,
enough,
really?
enough warning on this.
Found out about this like 90 minutes ago?
Yeah,
2
something
hours
like
ago?
that. Something like
Yeah,
that.
a little surprise.
Oh, by the way, the gift I'm giving you.
The gift.
The gift.
gift. What a trick.
It's all about phrasing, fear, reverence, gift, surprise podcast.
I was hoping like dinner or something.
But the benefit is this. The benefit is this quality trade that we're having right now.
Exactly.
So I could have said, no, I don't feel like it. My stomach is balled up now because you said I'm going to have to do a thing that's going to be kind of public. So here we are, because I believe that, really honoring the reverence of a thing will help you to embrace it and get the benefits of it.
I love that.
I love it.
Absolutely
as well.
love it.
One other thing that I want to just bring up, I love the language shift from fear to reverence, and also the focus on the outcome as opposed to the action, right? Like when you do the thing, whatever it is, public speaking,
Might be scary.
recording some videos and putting them on YouTube. I mean, like, oh no, the internet's full of mean people. Yeah. Tell me all about it. But I think that when you just have both of those things working to your advantage, a perspective shift in the language you use, as well as what's the outcome if I do the action, and if both of those things line up, you usually do a bit more than you otherwise would. But I've got a question for both of you, and I want to swing this just back to the general field of accounting, and obviously this is important for every entrepreneurial accountant out there. But I didn't indicate that also Michelle leads our Show and Teach Us call.
Yes.
And so she's routinely interviewing our clients that have like super cool things going on inside of their firms and unpacking them. And she does an amazing job with that call as well. But both to Ine and Michelle, what do you see as areas of opportunities for entrepreneurial accountants that, quite frankly, like every firm needs to be taking advantage of, right? Like you're just like, come on now, like why are we still talking about this?
Wow. You already, you know what I'm going to say.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
You know that I'm going to say AI.
Yeah.
You knew that I was going to say that. I know that it doesn't seem, that it's me. Like, I love the technical challenge, obviously. And I think that we should we should. I'm going to fix that. We must embrace the technology of artificial intelligence and leverage it. And the reason why we need to do this, accounting folks, is because in order to really have a dream firm, you have to have dream clients.
You have to have dreams.
First, why don't we do that first?
Yeah, do that
Why
first.
don't we just back up and get that part? So you got to have dream clients. And the basis for dream clients is relationship. And the less time that you are spending doing the technical minutia of ticking and tying and inputting and all of the things, you can actually spend having a meaningful relationship, a real engagement, with your clients. We sign proposals for engagements for everything that we do. And to be able to really engage with them, in my opinion, it really lies on the other side of leveraging AI to do lots of the things that we currently have to do manually. And we could use that same time. We don't use AI to solve problems because we solve problems. We don't use AI to solve people because we need people.
Computers can't solve people.
They cannot. But we need them to help us to leverage those problems. We need them to help us to mitigate and minimize. And I believe that when we embrace that fully, like, we are going to be a superpower to be dealt with here in this industry. We will be #gang accounting. It's my favorite. That actually is my favorite thing.
You hear me? You feel me?
#gang. You feel me?
Great answer, right?
Fantastic answer.
Love it.
Very topical, and so many people haven't even tried, and that's the crazy part.
That's the crazy part.
And it's so easy.
So what I wasn't going to go that technical, but the same thing that keeps coming up in conversation. Can't find good people. can't find good clients.
Yeah.
But to your point, and hey, if we are utilizing the technology that we have, we can find the good people.
You can deepen the search.
Because we're not having them down in the weeds where, your head's down all the time and that's all you're doing. And,
Yeah.
And, with the availability of the technology that we have now, not just AI, but some of the software programs we have.
Yes.
We are in a position that we should be able to find good people, and we should be able to train them. And it's just a matter of how do we as an industry come back to that and say, okay, these are going to be, and not like the AICPA standards or anything like that, but this is the standard that we want to bring our
Right.
organization up
Right.
to, our profession at this level.
Level up.
And exactly. And so, how do we hold each other accountable for that? And again, I think part technology, part relationships.
Yes. Yes. And those integrations are important.
Right.
They're so extremely
Right.
important for the level up.
Well, and especially I want to say the kids, the kids coming up these days. I mean,
The Tylers.
the Tylers grew up with computers. You and I saw the birth of computers.
Yeah, right.
So
Right. Shh, don't tell too much. But yes.
I know, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we're bringing people on board. Lack of a better word, they used a computer for a pacifier.
Correct.
This is reverse ageism. I just want to say.
Real close to the mic. Mic check.
Mic check.
So it takes from our side of it. It takes kind of that brain switch.
It absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a pivot. Our industry too is centuries old. So in the industry itself, integrations, technology, it's usually a slow shift.
Right. Right.
Here.
Yeah.
So now we have AI introduced to it, right?
We don't want to be on the bleeding edge.
Definitely. That we never want to do
Yeah.
that. Because we're in the mindset of, and I think that, that's what makes us really good in accounting or at accounting and what we do is that we are critical analytical people. Like, so we're thinking if it's not broken, why we gonna fix it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it's
Perfectly
not
said.
broken, but it's working really slow.
Glacially slow.
Yeah.
So it's like saying no. I got the '68 Volkswagen, and
don't be
still
picking on my car.
but-
Still kind of runs.
Yeah, but I got 5 kids.
Right.
It's not broken. It's still in mint condition. But can I transport the 5 kids though?
Right.
Probably not.
Tie them on the top. Put one in that hood trunk.
Got the trunk.
Effectively.
Yeah.
And efficiently.
Okay.
I should throw that in.
Let's use
Can we
safely.
say safely?
Safely.
Okay. One of the leaves.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to put them in there. But yeah, that. All of that is extremely critical, extremely important, and I believe that when we all embrace that, and we are, I know, we're preaching,
Well, as Tyler said, there are some people in our profession that don't even know what ChatGPT is.
Correct.
They have never opened
Correct.
it up. They have not found the joy
Correct.
of it. So it's
quite joyful.
it is.
It's quite joyful. I remember meeting this guy, and I had never like systemically with my integrated calendar. All of us have an integrated calendar in 2024. We're all using something, Outlook, Google, whatever. I had never systemically and to scale blocked out time. I had never done that before until I met Tyler.
Oh, that's the same here.
I had
Same
never
here.
leveraged that tool. And I think even before that, I had in my mind, which we do in our industry, that my calendar is not broken. Why do I need to fix it? I mean, I know what I got to do,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But the calendar didn't know what I had to do.
Right.
And just that little tweak, took me to the next level of making sure, always staying on the cutting edge of the integrations that are introduced into our industry, being careful not to just go with every shiny thing,
Yep.
but obviously looking to the things that matter and embracing, the up level of the integrity.
And it's learning how to
of
be discerning.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to echo a few of these points, a couple of crazy things that I've seen is one, yes, ChatGPT, a lot of majority of accounts have literally never even typed a query into it,
Oh my God.
let alone tried to figure out a use case specifically to their own field. And obviously, there's a lot of great use cases from administrative to marketing to just like general time savings, research projects. But to your point, right, of just like oftentimes we don't need to be taught new things, we just need to be reminded. Now, AI is something that you do have to learn that is new.
Correct.
But online scheduling, okay, online calendars, this is not new.
It's not.
And so when I'm like, come on now, accountants, like, let's go.
What's your problem?
Y'all know about this. And we run polls, and I've collected more poll results to this than I even care to admit. It's like it's probably close, not 60,000, it's probably close to about 30,000. 80% of respondents do not use an online scheduling tool. That is just, and this is
Well,
wait.
didn't.
This is an industry that has been predominantly dominated by hourly billing rates, and
Exactly.
the lack of respect for your own time.
Yeah.
Is just mind blowing to me. Like that's the smallest piece of technology you can leverage. Like I'm trust me, not a fan of hourly billing, but I am the ultimate fan of protecting and maximizing your most precious resource.
Correct.
But if you don't know, you don't know.
But I have to believe they do know.
But no, because I learned it from you as
Mostly.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So
fair.
because as you know, we're not taught these things
Yeah,
in school.
that's a good point.
We're
No.
taught a debit and a credit,
That's it.
and maybe a few things how to analyze those, but the practicalities that are out there in the world, we're not taught those.
And we're taught,
Right.
with all due respect, in accounting school, we're taught how to get an accounting job.
Yeah,
Correct.
Not how
Correct.
to own an accounting firm.
Correct.
So it's all the things, these other,
Yeah.
being the ownership and, and having all that. You know what's really cool about the thing that you taught us about the calendar, though?
So
So you take your calendar now and you leverage AI.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so my chat knows me and knows my calendar, and I will never, ever, ever have to tell that calendar to do anything else because
Right.
AI tells me how busy I am and where my time is being spent. And I can just go in there and say, hey, chat, how many hours on average are we spending on 1040s, 1128s? This is all important, accountants. This is important. It's important for managing your firm. It's important for managing your time. Hey, chat, can you check the calendar and see if I'm going to have any time for Big Daddy this week? That's my husband, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying it just really helps with leveraging your time and having a work-life balance.
Right. And we
Big
need
Daddy loves AI.
Yeah,
just to be
Daddy
clear.
loves
and we need people that can introduce us to new shiny objects, but useful things.
Yeah.
As long as
Absolutely.
those things are, again, have a legitimate use case
Yes.
and are give you a return.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's really hard to imagine that any time you spend learning AI won't give you it's
Correct.
and the the equivalent that I like to make for it is imagine 10, 15 years ago and you were afraid to learn QuickBooks Online. Like
It was a thing.
it was
We
It
don't
was a
like
thing.
it, but we did it.
It was a
absolutely
thing.
Yep.
So I think we could talk about this topic a lot,
Wow.
and may need to be a topic for a future podcast if you guys
Absolutely.
would like to get surprised
Again.
with a gift again, air quotes for those listening on audio, a gift again in the future. But if you could just leave one parting piece of wisdom for the audience, and I'd like to actually speak to the younger entrepreneurial accountants out
Oh,
there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The ones that are looking at saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to find a way to make this happen. I'm going to find a way to make this work. What's something that you wish you could tell your younger self
Yep.
that would have saved you a lot of heartache, money, pain? What's the one thing, if you could go back in time, what would that be?
So you guys have heard me say this too, but you have to show up to go up. Someone told me that. I learned that about, I'm going to say, 18 years ago now, as it was 2006. And it was when I first started to take entrepreneurship seriously.
Weren't you like 21?
I was going to say that too.
Isn't that
but-
cute? I like that. I
Or
like
just
the
a playbook.
flattery. Flattery will get you far, my friend.
Just a baby back then.
I don't think I was born yet.
Yeah. So when this, beautiful businesswoman, would say that, you have to show up to go up. She was really speaking to that critical analyzer that I was. And I heard you say today that what the coach said, the potential is that
Potential
what you
just
said.
means you haven't done shit.
You
yet.
ain't done nothing yet. You ain't done nothing yet. So she would also say, God, I wish you could see the potential that you have, and so on and so forth. And just one day, it just clicked one day that you have to show up to go up. You can't. I mean, there's so many colloquialisms I could drop here, but all of them need to be implemented. Like, you actually need to do what the colloquialism says. Like, you got to show up to go up. You got to be about it. You got to put your money where your mouth is. All of those things, really simply put, is if you really want to own your own business and be a success at it, then you definitely have to own it, own every action, own every move, every thought, and actually do the thing. Oh, who says that? Just do it. Nike. Yes.
You read my mind.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry about that.
That's okay, dude.
I'm a good reader.
I know you are. So to tag on to what Anae is saying, again, just do it. There's so many people that we have around us who are naysayers and wet blankets and whatever else you want to say about the negative.
You don't know nothing about that. You're too young.
Yeah, he is.
With wet blankets.
And who
I throw that blanket off me.
and who just don't. They're scared because they don't have that entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah.
So they're thinking from, you have to be an employee, you have to have that safe job. But if you've got that spark in you, you've just gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe again in the processes.
Yep.
And just as Nike says, just do it.
And if for you a job, if a job is for you, right? If it's for you, obviously you should stay on that job, love that job, be the best employee that there is. You should be the best at anything that you do. Obviously, everything that we have is a gift, I believe, and we should steward those gifts by honoring them. So if a job is for you, a job is for you. But if you are an entrepreneur at spirit,
Right.
then a job is a joyless occupational bondage for
Right.
you. That's what JOB is for you. And you need to just make that shift. And
Joyless occupational bondage.
That's what job
great,
is.
isn't it?
Wow.
That's
That
fantastic.
wasn't off the cuff. Well, you didn't make
no,
that up.
I did not. I cannot take the credit for that.
That was really impressive.
Just like
Never heard that one.
FICA, I can't. Funds I cannot access. I didn't make that up either.
Oh, you've got those too?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Yes, I do.
I cannot access.
Funds you need help with your FICA? Funds I cannot access. You got to talk to a tax plan advisor. But yeah, that's. You need to figure out how to get to the funds I cannot access. But yeah, if for you working is a joyless occupational bondage where you're giving these gifts, you're not being able to make these decisions that is going to help the bottom line, it's going to help the clients, that it's going to help the field that you service, you most likely should be an entrepreneur. And if you're in that space, then you need to quit just thinking about it. You need to start just being about it and align yourself with the rest of the feathers who are like that. My son said to me the other day, Mom, how is it that you know people in Kentucky? Like, how is it that you're saying you have a bestie in Kentucky, or whatever? And how do you, I was like, this is, somebody sent me a visual birthday card, and it was from the Philippines. He's like, Mom, how do you know these people? Like, how do you know these people? And it's because when I decided to do the thing, when I decided to show up, that I wanted to show up in the space of other powerful people. And I would only take the advice of people I would dare trade places with. And so I was very on purpose about the gang I hang out with, and that's who you should be if you're going to do that.
I don't know if you want to take my place. I have 3 cats. But anyway, so I don't know when you took the jump in so when I took the jump July 1st of 2008, it was 100%. It was not I'm going to hang on to my job and get the security. I had left my job.
Look at you.
I had a house.
Look at her. She's such a grown-up.
And I know.
You find a way.
You find a way to do
or
it.
make a way.
Make a way. So yeah, there's, again, to your point, the security of the job, but sometimes you've just got to leave that if that's your passion and that's
Correct.
what's pulling you.
Your entrepreneurial endeavor cannot be your plan B.
No.
It can't be your plan B.
No.
That's a great one.
It has to be your plan A, and there has
and
to be
B,
no
and
other
C,
plans.
and D, all
Yep.
the
Right.
way to
No other
Right.
plans.
whatever letters there are.
Right.
This is it. Because and you said, what mistake, and what would you have done differently? I stepped out in 2006, but I did not let, show up to go up, resonate until 2009. So
And
for
then that's
3
when you took
years,
off.
I'm holding on to the job and, but my insurance and my
Yep.
kids and my dad.
Yep.
My time was getting away from me. My building of my foundation was getting away from me. And then one day, the shift happened. So if I could have done that sooner, we'd be a little further. I don't know. I'm sure we would be. I think. Of course, I learned all the lessons, I guess. But
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
interesting because I find that most entrepreneurs, the one thing that they will all collectively agree on, and I find that this is also true for people who start to produce content. I just wish I started sooner.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
like the lessons I would have learned, the money I would have made. Like I would just be months or years or decades in some people's cases ahead of where I am right now. And to give my parting advice to the younger entrepreneurial accountants out there, there's an expression that I love. Those who pay attention, and also those who pay more attention. One of the things that you'll battle with, especially being younger, is, am I worth it, right? What about the accountants or CPAs out there that have decades of experience, that have been around the block and know every aspect and corner of the tax code, and I barely can reconcile a QBO file right now, and there's
We were there.
something definitely to be said about hey, have some experience, right? Like if you can get CPA, maybe EA, get a year, 2, 3 years under your belt, that has some real worth, and just firming up your confidence. And that's not blowing smoke. Like you really need to know what you're doing. But the flip side of that is there's always more to know. And if you always wait to know more before you take the jump, one day you will wake up and you will be 65 and you will go, I think I can still know a little bit more, but I don't like where I am. And unfortunately, I'm
Wasted.
I'm out of time.
Out of energy.
Squandered.
So just know that, again, that there's it's important that if you pay a little bit, whether you're paying for services, you usually expect a little bit, right? And the same thing is true for your clients. So one, don't be afraid to make premium investments, because if you want to make big returns, you got to make big investments of time and capital. You got to stay focused. And if you're expecting to be able to deliver a premium result to your clients, and I don't know anyone who wants to deliver less than that, to be perfectly frank, it comes along with a premium price. And the sooner you start to just embrace that pricing mentality of like, I need the capital and the cash to be able to go and pay for an expert to teach me the answers
Yes.
around the tax
Yes.
code, or to
Right.
be able to go and buy the time of someone to be an employee who can close out the books at the end of the month, or whatever it is.
Good talk.
Everything gets a heck of a lot easier when you got a little bit of positive cash flow coming
Absolutely.
your way. So look, this felt right as rain. I just want to say, for like the first one,
Right is right.
I absolutely loved having you two on for my first ever podcast guest. And I'll just give you the opportunity to close it out. Just anything that you want to say as a parting shot, 30 seconds or less. And then I'll close it out the way you all know I close it out. If you want to join me, you're welcome to. But Michelle, why don't you go first? Anything at all that you want to close it out with?
Wow, there's so much. Tyler, love you. Love the fact that I have gotten to meet one of my best buddies, Anae.
Kentucky bestie.
As you said, it's an honor to be here. And what our audience doesn't know, that the three of us really are friends.
Yay.
And to me, that's huge.
Yeah. Because we showed up.
Right. We showed up.
Because we
We
showed up.
up.
We showed up.
Friendship takes work.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Takes
Yeah.
work.
Y'all already know what I say in parting. And especially for those, new entrepreneurs out there, or if you're thinking about it, especially if you're a fabulous entrepreneur accountant and you're a GOAT and you don't know it. What I mean by that is that you are the greatest of accounting time. and you don't know it, there's only one thing to say to you, and that is hashtag let's go. Let's go. They're waiting. They need you. We need you.
Yes, we do.
Just like we need each other here. We're celebrating this friendship, this connection, because we all connected on the one true thing, and that was to be better accounting professionals.
Yep.
And so hashtag let's go.
Gave me goosebumps on the end there. You guys are awesome. So yeah, I mean, let's go. And as we all say, remember that only you can create your dream firm, but we are here to help you every step of the way. All right, so if you want to join a money cult, that's
cult.
what Dream Firms is all about. We're a money culture. Excuse me. We're all
I
about
didn't
helping
think we
you
were a
and me.
cult. But,
Well, no,
no.
excuse me. I meant culture.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's all good.
In all sincerity, you guys are awesome, dream clients to a T, and I imagine we're going to get a lot of requests for to hear your expertise again in the
So
future.
we'll have some new money moguls
Yeah,
to the money cult.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks for listening, and be sure to like and subscribe. And if you got value in this, do a friend a favor and pass it along. And we'll look forward to seeing you inside of the Create Your Dream Firm program in the not so distant future.